I had a plan. And I was like, I'm going to tape these up. And I was going to read my little script ChatGPT gave me after I plugged in all the numbers from Orange County and Huntington Beach. And I couldn't do it. I'm so sorry. I just got to free ball it, raw dog it, whatever the kids are calling it these days. But it sounded good, and it would have saved you time, and it would have just touched on the bullet points, but it just doesn't give you like that in-depth or like insightful kind of information. And I think you could find that market update pretty much on any other realtors pages. But there was a couple things that like ChatGPT and Grok and like all the AI chat bots or whatever you want to call them don't pick up. And there's like a key, what do I call it? There's a key stat in here that I think is super important in dictating what's happening in the market right now. And I've heard it mentioned, just people don't really like tell you exactly how bad it is. So like we have this thing going on right now in the market where there's a lot of people that aren't willing to accept the fact that prices have settled since peak COVID. And they're not willing to believe that 7% interest rates like have an effect on buyer purchasing power. And so we have those cash offer guys coming in now, and they're doing their lowball thing again, not understanding that the house is probably still going to be selling close to what its list price is if it's priced appropriately because of the lack of supply. And so supply and demand is going to keep prices. So like right now, like prices should be dropping, but they're not because we have a lack of inventory. There are buyers out there, but the problem is like prices aren't rising, and we're not seeing like that increase either because of all these people that have been locked into the low interest rates. I mean, that's 9 out of 10 conversations I have for somebody that wants to move. It makes sense to move. They can't move, or they're just unwilling to double or triple their payment just to get an extra bedroom in the house across the street. So like, I think that's what's really happening here. I don't think rates are being looked at from like the right side of the street. I think everyone's looking at rates like, oh, we're going to drop rates. It's going to go from 7 and we're going to go down to 5, and then the market's going to explode, inflation's going to go up. But I don't think what people are accounting for is the fact that so much inventory is going to be unlocked from all those people that refuse to let go of their 2.75, their 3.25 30-year fix. Like there was a lot of people that refinanced and have under 3% 30-year fixed mortgages. Now, why would anybody get rid of that to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars? And that's on a 1% change. So like there was this old thing I used to say just to let people understand like rates matter so much more than the actual price of the home. And so like I just took a $500,000 loan balance back in the day when I was trying to just give a simple example of why this matters so much. So if you go from 4.5, I think it was 4.5 to 5.5 or 4 to 5%, and you kept that same loan balance, the interest that you accrued over the course of that 30-year period was over $120,000 more. And so like when people were arguing, oh, I don't know if I can come up $15,000. And I'm like, well, by the time you buy and the rates go up 1%, because that's what was happening at the time I was telling people this, you were going to get priced out of the market. And I said that, and it happened. And I have several clients that are still waiting around. Prices have soared. Interest rates are nowhere near 4% anymore. And that's what happens when you don't take action. You don't quite understand what's actually going on in a market. And so if you're a buyer right now and you're looking, buy right this second. Because there's sellers out there that have to move. You're going to find opportunity while no one else is competing because rates went down from like 6.52 to like 6.32. That whole whopping. And that was already built in prior to the Fed meeting too. So like literally that quarter point percentage drop did friggin' nothing. Except made us wonder like when we're actually going to get an increase that's going to help housing. That's going to, and again, I think it's going to soften pricing when that happens and we hit the right point. I think going to like 6% or 5.5% right now, I don't think it's going to do what we need it to do. And I think prices and like overall market activity will increase, but we're still going to see such high prices that people are going to be kind of stuck still. Or our entry-level homes in Huntington Beach that used to be like $380,000 when I first started real estate, they're now $1.3 million. A starter home, like a tear down. So anyway, that's kind of just what's going on right now in the market. But that one little key infographic thingy that I wanted to point out is, let me just kind of go over some general data real quick and what's been happening. So we had a busy July. Happens every year. Kids are out of school. It's when we have the most amount of activity. Because we have so much activity going on and there's so much competition between sellers, prices seem to settle a little bit. So we always go from like a flatter July as far as like home prices go, and there's always an increase in August. So like all these trends are just following our normal seasonal year to year. We've seen it all before kind of situation. But the one thing that's not doing what it's always done is the amount of cancellations. And so in the first 2 weeks of July in Orange County, we had about 1,000 listings come on the market, that's kind of where it's been all year. I think we had our low point in January, 617, and then it kind of creeps up towards 1,100. But for the most part, it's between 800 to 1,100 homes come on the market every month in Orange County. Sorry, not every month, every 2 weeks in Orange County. Cancellations, however, back when market activity is hot and a lot of houses are selling, you usually see in that same 2 week period about 200 to 230, sometimes 300 homes canceling. For the last 3 months in a row, aside from the 2 weeks to end August, we have had cancellations over 500 homes for those 2 week periods in which 1,000 homes were getting listed were canceling. And like there's some rollover because a lot of these listing periods are going to be 90 days, 6 months. So we can't really tell when that's happening and how much were left over from the previous 2 week period. But the percentage itself over the last specifically 6 weeks, about half the homes that have been on the market that weren't getting the prices from what the sellers were requesting with their list price have canceled and pulled themselves off the market. And so this kind of goes back to what I was talking about. People aren't willing to understand that the market's changed. And so, I mean, one of two things are going to happen. You're going to accept the fact that it has, which it doesn't sound like most people are, or you're going to just say, no, then I'm not going to move. I don't have to. I'll make what I have work. And now all those people trying to enter the market are just kind of screwed. So like we're going to lock up activity. Market's going to suffer. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know there's going to be like a lot of frustration and people just not understanding what's happening. And we're all kind of mad. I'm mad. Like I make okay money, but I'm like stuck in my 1,400 square foot 1957 house because I am that guy too. My mortgage triples. My mortgage, my interest, and taxes, insurance, my payment triples. If I rebuy my house today at the price it's at with 20% down, my monthly nut goes up 3 times. So I get it. And I'm never going to be one of those realtors that tells you to marry the house and date the rate, because we all know how that worked out. Which is why Google searches have increased like tenfold on help with mortgage. And so if you kind of look at the big picture and see all this crap going on, I think rates just have to come down. And that's not to help affordability, that is just to get people moving again, because we need activity, bottom line. So if you're curious or you're one of those people that does need to sell, there is certain tactics and kind of like things you can do to increase the likelihood that your home will actually sell for a decent price. But pricing and the strategy is very important right now, because again, you're going to see those houses that are going to miss the boat when that slew of interested buyers comes, and now there's competition, there's drive and demand. And when you get past that 2 week period and you become one of those houses that has just been sitting or needs to do a price reduction, I mean, ask any agent that's had a listing that's been sitting over, a month right now. I just pulled it off the market today. We did a price reduction. We had 1 phone call, 0 showings, and my clients lost motivation, and it's just where we're at right now. I'm not going to push them to continue to try. I mean, we're getting into the holidays, and I understand, part of my job's the psychologist, but I didn't have anything else to say in good conscience to them, because I can understand exactly where they're at, and I said, it's just not meant to be right now. I don't want to stress you out. I don't want your wife to clean the house daily, so, to expect the showings that just aren't coming in right now. So go back to doing what you were doing. Live your life. If something starts changing, I'll reach out to you guys, and then we can maybe re-strategize on how to make this move happen. But right now, it's just a tough market. I'm available. If you have any questions, people hit me up all the time. I'm like free consults, and I'm going to always give you my advice that I spent 15 years building. So you're going to get some good advice quickly if you just have a quick question or not. Obviously, if you would like more than that, then we can talk. But I hope this was a somewhat helpful and informative market update. Screw those things. Less boring, but I'm sure I rambled more than I needed to. Anyway, we will see you next time. Goodbye.